Alright, hello everybody, and happy Easter Egg Sunday! It's still Sunday by the time I record this, so happy Easter! I have a little Cadbury caramel egg, which I only have one of, but I want to order more of these, my goodness. So, last episode we revealed the killer. I'm beyond shocked even... This is literally immediately afterward. Like, I ended the last recording, saved it, and then restarted the recording process again. So, Emma killed Officer Marshall by accident. In her defense, it was in the dark and she could only see via lightning, so in her defense it's justified, but at the same time it's inexcusable as to why and how this happened. I really understand now why Lana would go to such great lengths to try and protect her sister, but we can't undo the past. Say, Worthy, can't I say I didn't warn you? You. Chief Gant? Do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Derrick was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? What the hell are you talking about? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Hey, he killed hang on. He was not innocent in the damn slightest. Look at this. He killed 5 people. Or rather 4 people, but still, he killed people. He killed 4 people. That's not at all innocent. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to assure his conviction. But Joe Derrick really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Yes, it is! He literally could have been sentenced to death because he killed 4 people. You don't just go on the street and just do that and get away with it. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What the hell is going on? What's going on at the prosecutor's office? How did he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order, order, order! Order! The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to silence the crowd, the judge declared recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. To be continued! Why do I keep doing this to me after every single episode? Alright. Hang on just a sec. I'm going to time skip for a moment. Hang on. I'm just going to pause real quick and do something else real fast. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. So I took a quick shower because I was sweating bullets the last episode and I felt gross and I'm like, I need to rinse everything that just happened off of me. So let's continue. Is this nightmare roller coaster going to ever end? So we were in there at 10 a.m. It's 2 hours. That was 2 hours worth of our time and lives. February 25th, 1206, District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Gumshoe, you have the worst and best timing out of any character in the entire game. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Gumshoe! Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making the detective run around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hang on. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Evidence? What the hell? It's like, here, you need this children's book on how to do evidence. She asked me to give you this, she asked me to give you this to you if there was a break in today's trial. A little book called Evidence Law with a cute little ducky and like a little hat and pipe. It's cute, but it's like, I feel like she's just like insulting Phoenix at this point. Like, here's how evidence law works. Now read it and then go into the courtroom. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning on to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him. Guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Evidence law! Excuse me. Doesn't look like the book that do you good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why am I still sitting here in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me, Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial is today. Hasn't begun. So all that work we did last episode, that meant Jack. That was nothing. That was just a warm-up. That was just the crust. We're about to break through the mantle, the outer layer, the inner layer and core of this whole trial. We're about to break the jawbreaker, guys. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she unwillingly caused a man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. I forgot. Like, as we were... It's like a double murder. Like, both sisters accidentally killed people 2 years apart. And our original case still stands. Like, Lana didn't kill anyone. She already stabbed a dead body to make it look like she killed him. Or to make it look more authentic. However, this also still means that, yeah, Emma's kind of also in the wrong, but then again, the murderer of that case died, along with Neil Marshall, so again, she could be convicted, but at the same time not convicted. Plus she's like 16, so she would have to go to juvie for a couple of years at most. And then even then, that's still like, I don't know. Now we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Alright. Let's do this. Alright, February 25th, 1252 District Court, courtroom number 9! I can imagine nobody's at ease. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, this is easy to say. You see, there's some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses. I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. So Edgeworth's saying, I'm already in the ground, I'm already done. Here, you do everything now. I'm giving you all my +1s, +4s, skips, reverse unos. I'm giving you all that. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual agreement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright? You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. Defense calls, and to finally bring out the real murderer, Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? As the defense's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he still should be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right. Bailiff, escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Where are they? Are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto, what's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean the time that Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. I'm both. You're aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it a certain risk. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, the witness now may begin his testimony. SL9 incident. Hang on. Alright, let's continue. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outrage didn't help either. No, power outage. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Derek was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Derek bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I better hit him as hard and fast. SL9 incident. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. We're pressing him on everything. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Drake and made him run away like that. Was the defendant Lana Skye also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Derek ran for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Derek made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs, I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got, the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went through his heart, though. That's not funny. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Derek was also lying collapsed on the floor. Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk? That's right. I think you said earlier, it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor? Yes. Anyway, as you can see, I had no such thing to do with the forgery. Hold it! So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt. But moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you better stare at that court record. Were they? Always a smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link him to the incident. Okay, I think I know what I need. I had nothing to do with the forgery. First of all, yeah, you do. If you really had nothing to do with the forgery, then how do you explain this? What's that? And what's that on it? A handprint? Chief Gant, your explanation, please. I don't know. You tell me, son. Huh? My dear Righto, don't you know? The second rule of evidence law... Wait a second. Wait a second. Don't you dare flip the script on me. We found these items in your safe. You hid forged evidence for years. 2 to be exact. Uh-oh. Not this again. Evidence law. Yes, the one with the cute little duckling detective. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Tell me, how is that rag relevant to this trial? It appears the defense was not prepared. I guess that's too early to use that piece of evidence. Please accept my profound apologies, Chief. Would you mind giving the defense another chance? Well, okay, I'll do it just once, but only because you asked, Haji. Thank you. I assure you the defense is terribly sorry. Ha ha ha. Yeah, sorry I didn't nail you. Had nothing to do with the forgery. Not so fast. Not so fast. Okay, so the only two things that were found in that safe were... hang on. Before I continue. Alright, rules for submitting evidence. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the chief of the police department. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. I think the jar? You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. This jar, for example. That's the blue battery you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Dan, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you actually played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Dan, what is the meaning of this? Oh, there's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admitted then that you were involved in the forgery. Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? What would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do that too. Wait, so Phoenix could have literally forged all the evidence right here, right now, and we didn't. Isn't that right, Wright? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Were they, my boy? Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying for work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence you found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put 2 and 2 together. Evidence and forgery. Let's see, what was it now? This jar fragment and the list. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Derek was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I'm the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistakes again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. All right, Haji. In return, though, I know, that place, right? Huh? Where are these guys telepathic? Same time, same place for the same dinner, show, movie. Alright, evidence and forgery. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I'd appreciate if you stopped making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. Exactly. Or what? Well, you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped a cow. Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry the evidence, did you? Can you? If you have proof on the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Wright's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. I never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Wright. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Derek was convicted, then they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Derek was sentenced. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The Chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however, clever as they may be, will succeed only in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Righto. Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in forgery. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Marshall's death was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant. At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all of this. Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have, Chief of Police. Uh-oh. The resolution of the SO9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edward? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Be careful where you're pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motive for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's all out in the open. Ajay, would you mind changing my testimony a little? By all means, please do so. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Huh. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped anyone out? Point out accomplice. True, you might not have helped out anyone for their sake, but if it would have benefited you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? It is not Meekins, it's not Marshall, not Goodman? The Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of our circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who wouldn't want to help her out more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all this? He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would have acquired unhacked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? You gotta love the judge sometimes, right? Oh, wait. You mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding? Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Right there, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this, that I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana! She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way to testify against Gant. Hang on. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than conjecture. Unless... That is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? I'm confused. There's two parallel murders going on. Of course, I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor had been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone had been controlling her. Wendy, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious! Huh? This is an affront to the highest-ranking officer in our law enforcement agency! To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's... impossible! Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edwards said in easier to understand language. It's like, don't you throw me under the bus, Phoenix Wright. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. Looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Bruce Goodman. It's all come down to this. No, I'm not submitting the little duckling thingy as... Maybe I should point this as evidence. Who knows? Rules for submitting evidence. No evidence shall be shown without the approval from the police department. But if Chief Gant is the basic head, the head honcho of the police department, and he approves or basically says no to, says yay or nay to evidence, he could literally just change everything to make it go in his favor every time. Alright, rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Alright, so I saved. I'm still very much in the green. Found in Gant's safe. List of evidence in the SL9 incident. Half of this list was found in Gant's desk. Neil's autopsy. SL9 incident files. Files for Joe Derrick killing solved 2 years ago. Head investigator Bruce Goodman. This executive investigators Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Oh boy. You know what, just to ease the tension, let's present evidence law and see what happens. It's like, I present to you this cute little duckling booklet of evidence law. Well, Chief, so long as Wright here is tossing out things regardless of their relevance. And that was just to break the mold. Now, let's see. The ID card. We have so much stuff that I forgot about it. Like, I'm looking at the most recent, but I'm not going 100% back. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Oh, we got him now. Order, order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defendant's search of my office was a violation of regulations. I will demand Mr. Wright to be punished to the maximum extent of the law. Here's a yowie paddle. Go to town. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me. When you entered the evidence room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Okay. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Skye's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim... I can save in time. Show us proof that the victim went to meet with Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Alright, so that was found at the prosecutor's office. The only thing I can think of is this. Handwritten document dated 2/21 can only be submitted to... Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out a lost report item. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet are you in possession of the report? Which means you can't be sure he filled it out. He filed it. How do you know, I asked? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to. Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him. There's no other way the murderer and the Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was used only once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you really had lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! Chief Gant, you didn't. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the police prosecutor's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department that entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how to move a body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue until just taking up space. Hang on. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Oh. This is how you move Detective Goodman's body. A parking stub, Miles Edgeworth. You mean, the body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. You mean that I carried the victim's body? Precisely so. But wait, even you know, I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return. Tell me why. Ugh. I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbing, I brought this back here. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car? Yes. Unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order! 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 What is going on here? Is there no room for a rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's the photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe... Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Wright-ho, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make time for Early Bird Special. Who the hell do you think you are to just say this after we've just we've unveiled everything about you, Chief Gant. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? The police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking it right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all of this? Run away? That made me laugh, Webby. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, you think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. Huh. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. Hang on. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body. Do I have... Okay, so I looked back and it turns out I don't have any proof. I thought I did, I don't. It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, Ajay? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck is on my side again today. Okay, Ajay, I'll leave the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness? In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else, one more witness who can answer all the questions. Raised in this trial, someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling the witness today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth... The defendant? Miss Lana Skye? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take a final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court will now... hold on! Chief Gant! Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana? I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. Is he threatening her literally in court? That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. This isn't good. Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to make. You son of a snake! Okay, if there aren't any further objections. This court is now in recess. I hate you, Damon Gant. February 25th, 2:04 p.m., District Court Defendant Lobby Number 2. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edward. That Chief. He's something else, pal? Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. Oh dear. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could you mean... Maya? Yeah, it's like, hey Maya, could you come down here real quick? We have like a murder investigation going on, and we could use some telepathic help here. Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant stands again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said? But, Chief, that's not right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks? What do you mean by that? It's simple. If the Chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Oh, thank goodness you're okay. Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on? Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah, now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man, and she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she's changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders? She must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything the Chief told her to. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself. If you wanted to blame everyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you stay with... No, I'm going with you. I want to be there. When Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. To be continued, and I made it all the way to the to be continued part. Woo! Do-do-do-do-do. Alright, lucky number 7. So, obviously I'm going to stop here, but thank you guys for joining me on this episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. So, the next episode will be the possibly last episode of this trial. We are going to possibly press Damon Gant, get him guilty, and get that confetti of not guilty. Though I don't know how this is going to affect Emma and Lana, because Lana will be free, but Emma can't be free unless we can somehow prove her innocence as well. But But I digress. If you like this, leave a like, and please share with a friend. Hit the kitty in the center to subscribe to my channel, and there will be a video on the left and right, or a playlist rather, on the left and right. I am Static Stardust, and I will see you guys in the next episode on this channel. Goodbye.